Sean Hannity had the cable news exclusive last night, an exclusive, a video that had already been posted online about 9 hours earlier and broadcast in a PBS documentary 4 years ago. That's still considered an exclusive in Hannity's world.
Let's watch this.
Open up your hearts and your minds to the words of Professor Derek Bell.
Yes, it's true. 20 years ago, when he was president of the Harvard Law Review, Barack Obama hugged a man. His name, Professor Derek Bell. Now, at the time, Mr. Bell was protesting Harvard's failure to hire minority faculty. In the video, then the very young Barack Obama introduces him and then hugs him. Disciples of the right-wing blogger Andrew Breitbart went on Hannity's show to explain the truly shocking nature of this hug.
I think the one smoking gun here, the only smoking gun here, there are two smoking guns, actually.
There might have been three smoking guns. Fortunately, Sean Hannity was able to guide the conversation into more familiar territory.
We have what was said by then student Barack Obama. We have who he was associating with, controversial association again, radical, I would even argue, and the president's association with a radical professor.
There's a well-known history of associations between Barack Obama and radical figures. Derek Bell was a radical. This was about radical ideology. He's talking about some very radical things, so radical.
This candidate is far more radical, now president, that he's far more radical than he let on. What are people to grab from this more than anything else? Is it that Barack Obama seems to always gravitate towards the most radical people?
Radical, very radical, extremely radical, radical, and then some more radical. For once, I think Hannity is onto something. In fact, we have our own exclusive video of the president associating with someone who is truly radical. Take a look.
Tony Hawk, who's the best skateboarder in the world.
And there's even more evidence of the president's radical association. Here's a picture of a totally radical professional skateboarder, Tony Hawk, skateboarding. Can you believe it? Inside the White House. Scooped you on that one, Hannity. Let's turn to Eugene Robinson, MSNBC political analyst and Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist and associate editor of the Washington Post. Well, we got that out of the way.
Radical segment.
You know what? I was thinking when I was watching that last night, because I thought that Hannity was going to be producing the videotape that he's been talking about how President Obama didn't want to kill the world's #1 terrorist, and that would be Osama bin Laden. But it kind of measured up to what Geraldo Rivera did 26 years ago with the Al Capone vault thing. But, you know, isn't this just so trivial reaching? They have nothing else, Eugene?
This is considerably less than the Al Capone video, actually. What you saw was a student at Harvard Law School embracing a professor at Harvard Law School. Professor Derek Bell was in fact the first tenured African-American professor at Harvard Law School, and thus you have a student associated with his professor. This is, you know, stop the presses. I mean, this is just how can we stand for this?
And of course, he said he gave a speech several weeks before that hug where he said that there was racism in America. Can you believe that?
No, I can't believe that. And Ed, how could a guy who was the first black tenured professor at Harvard Law School, why would he say there was racism? Does it perhaps it occurred to him that he's the first one, and therefore there might be some reason there hadn't been anybody before him in that position?
You think
but I guess that's not racism.
Yeah,
right?
you would think that Fox would be talking about this 24/7, but they're not. I mean, do they have egg all over their face? What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, come on. How are they going to carry this forward, right? Because it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, this is a little clip, and there's this little hug, and the second part of it is that I guess another Harvard professor, Charles Ogletree, allegedly said, "Oh, we have to hide this during the campaign." But I have a confession to make. I'm a friend of Charles Ogletree, so I guess I'm part of the conspiracy too.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why you're on this show. That's why you're on this show, because you're part of that stuff. We wanted to break that story too. Here's one of Breitbart's conspiracy theorists pointing the finger at the media.
What's amazing about this video in particular is it was seriously open to anyone. This was not hidden. We were actually able to find, I mean, it was hidden by them, but it wasn't hidden from the media. If the media had really wanted to do the legwork, they could have found this stuff.
That's right. If we wanted to do the legwork, we wouldn't have found the videotape on the shelf of a television station that just happens to have a pretty good file system. So how's that for digging for stuff?
Yeah, that's really digging, you know, to find something that was broadcast to a national audience 4 years ago. It has apparently been sitting on YouTube as well. This is, you know, what we have demonstrated, what Hannity has done the service he has demonstrated, President Obama has associated with black intellectuals. Can you imagine that? I mean, I guess that's something Hannity would never do.
I'll tell you what we also found out, that guy named Barack Obama had a whole lot of talent way back when. As I said to E.J. Dionne, one of your colleagues last night on this broadcast, I didn't see the teleprompter there. Maybe you I didn't see the teleprompter. That was a pretty good speech. Eugene Robinson, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us tonight.